It's August and I've got a great dynamic strength workout for us today. Grab one dumbbell and let's go. All right, Killer Bees, let's go ahead and get moving and grooving. Have your one dumbbell completely out of the way and let's get started with some arm circles with high knees. You guys, welcome to the workout. I'm Paula B. I'm your best middle-aged fitness friend. And around here, we are all about making peace with your menopausal body by finding a healthy weight and moving in ways that feel like self-love. And you guys, I'm gonna ask you a question right now, right here at the beginning of this workout. Does trying something new feel like self-love to you? And it's a real question. It's a real question because we are doing something pretty different today. You probably already noticed that when I said one dumbbell, you might have been like, Paula, they come in pairs. Yes, they do. But also, today we're only using one of them. Today is going to be a very different kind of strength workout. It is strength. Don't you worry about that. We're going to get strong today, but we're going to get strong not by using slow and controlled movements and really thinking about where our form is and all of those kinds of things, even though we're totally going to think about form. But it's a very different, very dynamic, meaning mobile, meaning moving, meaning that if you are brand new to core work and brand new to fast moving, even though it's not super fast moving strength, this might be a little beyond you today. And I say that with love. I say that gently. I say that while we're doing arm crossers and booty kickers. I say that as if you are not feeling it today, if you know that you are brand new to exercise, if you know that your core strength still has a way to go, if you know that maybe trying something new just isn't right for you today, because you know how sometimes it's not. You know how sometimes you're like totally in the mood, like, yep, I'm wide open for that, and sometimes you're like, I really just don't want to think too hard. Okay, if today is a I don't want to think too hard kind of a day for you, go ahead and do something else. Like, for reals, I have 900 videos, you guys. I'm never offended by you choosing something different if you're not in for what I've got going on for today. Not a big deal. Plus also, I mean, I don't get a notification or anything. I don't know. But here's the dealio. Today, we're going to challenge your core. Today, we're going to challenge a lot of things that we think we know about strength. We're also going to do some welcome to my homes, because welcome to my home. And we're doing a very different protocol today. This is for my old school bees, for my bees who have been around for years and years and years. This is essentially a kettlebell workout, and it's essentially a kettlebell Tabata. Not exactly, it's a kinder, gentler, over 50 kind of a workout, but this is kind of an old school one today, and I'm very excited about it, and I'm very upfront and transparent about it. It might not be for you, and that's totally okay. Here's the thing. If you feel like you're up for this, but it's also kind of new and kind of different, I'm going to encourage you, because this is a very repeatable workout, to go a little bit lighter on your weights today and possibly even unweighted, just so that you can get the hang of it, just so that you can even understand what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And then the next time you come back to it, take it as a real challenge. Today is like a learning experience, and then the next time you do it might be for reals, you know, with a test. There's never a test. You guys, here's what it looks like. I've got the handy dandy gym boss set for 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. We're going to do each exercise 4 times in a row. It's very repetitive, and there's a reason for that. We're getting a lot of power out of our bodies today. This is a powerful, dynamic, strength empowering workout. And I'm going to tell you right now, the very first exercise is going to be a lot of shoulder work. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here in a second. But if you have any kind of shoulder mobility issues at all, do this one completely unweighted. Literally just put your hands together and we're going to wrap our arms around us like this. It's called halos. I'm going to have a weight in my hand because shoulder mobility is not a problem for me. But if it is for you, take this one completely unweighted. I'm going to get the timer going. We're going to hold the dumbbell by the long ends. We're going to wrap it around our head and then wrap it around the other direction. Your core is pulled in super tight. You're standing up straight and tall. We are really thinking about all of our dynamic motion today coming from our core. Having one elbow up and then transferring to the other elbow up. Here's 10 seconds of rest, even though there's not really much rest because you're hanging onto the dumbbell anyways. This is how it goes today. That was number 1. I'm gonna be counting in my head. So really, wish us all good luck with that. But here's the thing about flinging a weight around kind of quickly, moving at a pace that feels doable for you. If you can't get the hang of this motion just yet, slow it on down. Elbow up, transfer it around, elbow up, transfer it around. Here's 10 seconds of rest, you guys. Here's the thing about today. That was 2. I'm counting in my mind, sorry. I'm like thinking that was 2 intervals. And here we go again for interval number 3. I'm probably gonna say that out loud like a lot today, counting for myself, because I do wanna make sure that we don't accidentally do a real Tabata, which is actually 8 intervals in a row. But here's the thing about today, is that we are really thinking about all of our movements coming from our core. We're sitting up straight and tall with the tailbone tucked underneath us. That was the end of number 3. This is our 4th and final interval of halos. Here's the thing, it's very repetitive, non-repeating workout. Here we go with halos for the 4th and final time. By the time we make it through all 4 intervals, or in some cases, because they're single-sided, all 8 intervals, we're gonna be done. This is not a circuit. And I really want you to be thinking about where you're feeling the work, how you're feeling the work. This is all brain-body connection. Here's what we're doing next. I'm gonna have the dumbbell in my left hand. We're doing something called high pulse. It's basically like starting an old school lawnmower where you kind of come down in like a little bit of a half squat. And as we come up, you're popping your hips so that your elbow goes back. The dumbbell ends at your shoulder. Now, this is why I told you, if you weren't up for something different today, to go ahead and choose a different workout. This is the kind of dynamic movements that we're doing today. Really thinking, that was interval number 1, really thinking about squeezing in your core, squeezing from your glutes, making this work happen from the middle of you while your arm is kind of flinging around. I know that this looks like an arm exercise, and you'll feel it in your arm. I mean, don't get me wrong, you still have something, even moderately heavy in your hand, but you are not pulling this weight up from your knees the way that you would be if we were doing this in a slow and controlled manner. This work, that was 2 of them done. I'm gonna use my counter fingers. Here we go. Just gonna have my little counter fingers over here keeping me on task. This work comes from your abs. Well, I was gonna say 100%, but truly it comes from your glutes too. Because as you're standing up from that half deadlift position, you're squeezing your butt muscles so that your arm truly cannot do anything but come flinging up, and then you're controlling it by pulling your elbow back. My friends, that was the end of number 3. This kind of work can really lend itself truly to lower back injuries, lower back pain. If your glutes and your abs aren't really strong enough for this, you're gonna feel it. You might even feel it now. If you do, drop your weight. Do this just with your body so that you can really focus on your butt and your abs. You can absolutely, that was 4 of them on that side. I'm gonna go ahead and switch the dumbbell. You can absolutely get all the benefit of this workout without having something heavy in your hand. The heavy thing in your hand, or the moderately heavy thing in your hand, here's interval number 1 on the other side. High pulse, thinking about squeezing those glutes and then releasing as you come down. So it's glutes on the way up, abs on the way down. Abs, I mean, truly the whole time, but really specifically as you're coming back down, that's when you're really engaging them as you're crunching. That was the first interval done on that side. You guys, so many things to think about. So as you're pulling in your core is engaged the whole time, but really specifically you're squeezing your glutes on the way up and your like external abdominals on the way down. Your elbow is driving where your arm is going, but your arm is doing very little of the work. Honestly, your butt is basically making your arm fling around. Isn't that crazy? This is one of my favorite kinds of work, for so many reasons. Here we go with interval number 3, really squeezing those glutes. I love this dynamic strength work for a couple of reasons. Number 1, I feel amazing. I love that feeling of power that we get when we do work that's powerful. I mean, truly, this is coming from your powerhouse, your core. That was the end of interval number 3. There's 10 seconds of rest. We're gonna move into interval number 4. The other reason I love it, do you notice your heart rate? This is what I'm talking about with cardio weights. My heart rate has come up, I'm sweating. This kind of dynamic work builds your muscles, which means that it's good for your bones as well, but also it's good for your heart and lungs. How does that even work? You guys, that was the end of interval number 4. Coming up next, we're doing Slingshots. Okay, that means that we're gonna stand up straight with our core pulled in nice and tight. Dumbbell is gonna start for me in my left hand. We're transferring it to your other hand in front of you and behind you. Now here's the thing about this particular exercise. I want you to think about a couple of things. First of all, unlock your knees. When we're standing up straight and tall, it's really easy to accidentally lock your knees to help you stand up straight and tall. Here's 10 seconds of rest. I'm gonna put the dumbbell in my left hand again because we're doing 4 intervals. That was only number 1. This direction and then 4 intervals the other way. This is truly, this is relatively easy with a moderate weight, and I did this on purpose because I want you to think about a couple of different things. First of all, this is incredibly good for your not really eye-hand coordination, but your proprioception. Knowing where your body is in space and time, transferring a dumbbell, that was 2 of them done, transferring a dumbbell between your hands in front of your body and behind your body without looking at it, so good for your brain-body connection. You guys, this is the kind of work that helps us age really well, that helps keep your brain active, as well as, by the way, pull in your core, stand up straight and tall, tuck your tailbone underneath you a little bit, zip those ribs up by standing up straight. This is interval number 3. I'm keeping my brain sharp that way also. The next one is our last one in this direction. Now I will tell you, sometimes I actually make us go back and forth because that is even harder to really wrap your brain around. The reason I'm letting us do 4 of these in one direction is because I really wanted to give you plenty of time to think about where your core is. Think about how you're engaging your thigh muscles in order to stop your knees from locking while we're doing a very stand still kind of exercise. That was 4 intervals done on that side. I've got the dumbbell in my right hand now, and now we're going back around the other way. We're gonna unwind everything that we just wound up. Here we go, other direction. Oh my gosh. Do you feel how different that is? Now for me personally, last time, well actually this time, it's a lot easier to pass in front and a lot harder to pass in back because that's my left hand moving towards my right hand. That's where my coordination takes a hit. You guys, this is why. That was first interval done. This is why we do work like this. It's not just about the work that you're getting done in your core and your glutes by standing up straight and tall, pulling in your core. You notice me saying that again? Yes, this is much more about thinking about where your body is. You know, oftentimes I talk about this when we are doing like balance exercises and thinking about where our body is moving and how we're moving in time and space. It is every bit as important to think about where your body is. There we go. That was 2 of them done. Counter fingers. Was that 2 of them done or 3 of them done? I think it was only 2. We might do an extra one in this direction. You guys, this is hilarious to me. If that was already number 3, it doesn't really matter because I'm counting this one as number 3, and I'm going to say it several times that this is our 3rd interval. Even if it's not, this is actually the real reason why I stopped doing Tabata, is because I can't tell you all the things that I want to tell you about how we're working. That was the end of 3. This is our 4th one, even if it's our 5th one. This is our 4th one, our final one of Slingshots. There is so much to tell you about why we're doing what we're doing and how it's good for you that I forget to count. But I know we're done with this one. Okay, you guys, coming up next, we're gonna do kettlebell swings. We're actually gonna hold the dumbbell long ways like this, like having both hands. We're not gonna try and pass the hand, thank goodness. We're gonna have both hands on one long end of the dumbbell. We're gonna come down in like a semi-squatted, semi-deadlift position. So your torso is forward, but your knees are bent a little bit, and we're using all momentum. Once again, core is pulled in tight, glutes, boom, are squeezing, and you can actually watch my glutes engage and disengage. Engage and disengage. As we're coming up, you are not using your arms. And in fact, if you feel like you are using your arms, drop your weights. See what happens when you squeeze your glutes and just let your arms relax and do what they're gonna do. First one's done. Okay, this is the problem. When I have both hands on the dumbbell, it's really hard for me to keep my pointer or my counter fingers moving. So I'm gonna hold this up the whole time we're here, and then we're gonna do this again. This is interval number 2. I'm gonna say it a couple times. This is our second interval. We're squeezing our glutes, really thinking about the power of this work coming from your butt. Now, your core is pulled in the whole time, so of course you're drawing power from your abs, from your deep inner core stabilizers. Your glutes are firing and unfiring. That was 2 of them done. Yes, 2 of them done. That was our second interval. 2 of them done. We're going into our third interval now. This will be, and this is number 3, our third interval. Can you tell I'm a very auditory learner? I have to say things out loud. You guys, oh, this is what I'm talking about. Keeping your brain sharp, keeping your body sharp and firm and strong. Oh my gosh, that was the end of number 3. Okay, this is our 4th and final time with this kettlebell swings. You notice how your heart rate has come up again. I went back and forth between slower moving and faster moving for us like this so that we could really feel the cardio effects of this dynamic, powerful work. My friends, when it beeps again, this is our last one. We'll get 10 seconds of rest, and then we're moving into something that is far more, well, you've done it before. We've done it several times before. We're doing X marks the spot. Once again, we're going to hold the dumbbell the long way. We're going to make a chopping motion from one shoulder down to the opposite hip bone. And the real work of this is stopping that motion. Your arms really are doing some work on this one. But we are also really, really holding in our abs. By having our core pulled in nice and tight, even engaging your glutes and your whole hip complex in order to keep your hips nice and stable. First interval is done. We're really, really targeting everything in your dynamic powerhouse center, which is basically your whole torso. Here's interval number 2, where X marks the spot, drawing a nice X and chopping it right in front of you. Chopping from your shoulder to your hip, and then from your other shoulder to your opposite hip. Really taking it at a pace that feels good for you. This is still pretty moderate for me. You can hear me, I'm talking in full sentences. Even though this is rather cardio dynamic work, 2 intervals done. I'm still able to talk through it. If you feel like your work is more than that, like you've gotten a little bit away from yourself, feel free to take this down a notch, my friends. It's always up to you to make sure that you are working moderately. Sometimes, truly, sometimes the work is simply that you're thinking so hard about the exercises that means that you need to slow it down a little bit so that your brain and body have time to catch up with one another. There is absolutely, that was the end of number 3, there is absolutely no downside to developing your brain-body connection, the rainbow connection, if you will. I'm getting ready for our 4th and final interval. The thing about trying to develop that in the middle of a workout is that sometimes you're like, no, I gotta move faster, I gotta do more, I've gotta do what Paula's doing because it's a workout. And if I'm not moving that fast or moving that strong or having something in my hands like she does, then that's a problem because I'm not getting enough work done. My friends, coming up next, we're doing snatches. Okay. Snatches are very similar to high pulls, except this time we're letting the weight go all the way up overhead. So we're coming down in that half squat, half deadlift position, pop it on up, rather than letting your elbow take that work back behind you so that the dumbbell ends up at your shoulder. Whoom, it's all the way overhead. This will feel different because you need even more power from your glutes to make this happen. You will notice that as your arm goes up overhead, it's real easy to lock your elbow. Try really hard to keep it soft but strong, just like your knees. I noticed mine locking a couple of times. It's not as dangerous. Here we go with our second interval. It's not as dangerous, but you still want to be aware of it. You are moving the power from your glutes all the way up to the top of your arm, which means that you could actually hurt your elbow doing this kind of work. So you're really thinking about controlling this motion, even though, that was the end of number 2. Even though it's fast. This is the thing about dynamic, powerful work like this. It takes practice, truly, to do this kind of work well, which is why I highly suggest that A, you're in the mood for it, and B, you start with something that's not too heavy. The real work of kettlebells comes from lifting very heavy, much like weights. that the heavier you lift, that was the end of number 3, the heavier you lift, the more, work you'll do. I mean, that's kind of just the way work goes all the time. Here we go. This is our 4th and final interval on this side. Awesome job. However, you do not need to be lifting something very heavy or beyond you heavy to get fantastic benefit. The work comes from squeezing your glutes. I'm going to change hands. That was 4 on that side. We're moving over to 4 on this side. This is, technically speaking, our last exercise. I'm going to tell you right now, even though we've got this exercise, when it's done, it'll be done. I do have a built-in finisher of a final exercise. This is interval number 1 for me on my right-hand side. I always like to do my left-hand side and get it over with. It doesn't matter quite as much on these kinds of dynamic exercises because the work is coming from your glutes and your abs. The arm that you have the dumbbell in is almost irrelevant, truly. Get your heart rate under control. You notice. Cardio weights, my friends, dynamic, powerful strength. That's what we're going for today. This kind of work, so many benefits. All the benefits of traditional strength training, aka it's great for your muscles, it's great for your bones, it's great for your confidence. That was the end of interval number 2. We've got 2 more on this side. It's great for your body. This is especially a lot of real bang for our buck. I mean, you want to talk about an efficient, powerful workout. My friends, this kind of work, I'm feeling it in my heart and lungs as well. Even if you went unweighted today, you are getting so much brain-body connection work done. That was the end of number 3. This is our last one on this side, the last time we're doing snatches. You are getting so much health benefit out of this workout that I hope that you won't only look at, well, I could only lift, my lightest dumbbells, or I could only do like half of what Paula was doing because I really had to think about where I was and what I was doing and whether or not I was really still squeezing my butt, which, by the way, do you notice? It got a lot harder to squeeze your butt at the end of all this. That was it, but I've got one final thing. It's 4 intervals in a row. Again, we're doing thrusters. 1 hand on each long end of the dumbbell. It's a squat plus a press. It's a squat and press, squat and press. This time, we are thinking about doing the traditional movement. We've done squat presses before. Do you feel how different it feels when we're going a little bit faster? Thinking quickly about your squat position, thinking quickly about your press position. That was number 1. I'm not going to let us go over on this one. I'm going to have my counter fingers right here on the dumbbells because this is meant to take your heart rate up. This is a cardio move that we are doing with weights in our hands, or not, my friends. Even if you are not weighted, the transfer of your power from your glutes up into your arms, into your shoulders is felt whether you have something heavy in your hands or not. That was, here, I'm going to do it this way. I've got 2 intervals done. We're going to do 2 more. You can move your feet around if you want to. Make sure that your quads are still engaged. We're not locking our knees. We're not locking our elbows. I notice that it's getting tougher for me to think about where my core is, for me to think about where my glutes are. If you notice that too, slow down, my friend. You will get the cardio benefit on redoing this workout. The first time through, it's totally okay if what you're getting is the brain-body connection. As mentioned, this is something I've done before. This is something that I have a lot of experience and practice with. Here's our 4th and final interval, my friends. You are doing such a great job. The next time it beeps is the last time it's going to beep. We will be better than done. Whew, doggies, we will be finished. Thinking about good form all the way through, and that was it. Oh my gosh, I'm going to put this dumbbell all the way down, and we are going to move through a nice, slow-moving cool down. How about that? That was different and fun, wasn't it? I know. My friends, I know that I tell you every time, no matter what or how you did this workout. You did it so perfectly for you today. If you felt awkward and uncomfortable and weird, and this was the first time you've ever done something like this, and you didn't really like it, that's exactly what it's supposed to feel like the first time you go through dynamic strength like this. And you know what benefit you got from it, even if you were moving slowly, even if you were moving awkwardly? If you did not injure yourself, you got so much good work done just because you tried something new. I'm so proud of you for that. Thank you so much for joining me on a very different kind of an adventure today. Let's go ahead and open it up. Oh my gosh, nice and wide. And then close it up and give yourself a big hug and a pat on your sweaty and strong back. Such good work today. Now you guys, you might notice that might have felt a teeny tiny bit beyond moderate today. I want you to know that sometimes that happens and it's totally okay. You can still lose weight, you can still meet all your goals, even when you do something a little bit different every once in a while. I do have everything you need to know about weight loss at 50 and beyond here on screen in case you need your daily reminder. I also have a slightly longer cool down because that was slightly sweatier than sometimes we get when we're doing weights. Am I right? Such a good job. Thank you so much for working out with me. Make sure you subscribe before you go, and I'll see you tomorrow.